Minasama, konnichiwa. Kamal Gaballa this, Al-Ahram this. That's all the words in Japanese can I speak. So forgive me, I am going to speak in English, not in Arabic, of course. And I have some experience in Japanese because I lived in Japan for 4 years. So during that time, between the year 2001-2005, I was old enough not to study Japanese language, but I'm lucky. My wife, my children studied Japanese already, and I can manage some words. That's why I start by that. So I wish to, first of all, to thank Kyoto, not Doshisha University, and to thank also Sasakawa Peace Foundation to give me this chance for giving this presentation about the current situation in the Arab world, and also to speak about my newspaper and to give you such idea, a general idea about the situation in the Middle East. I'm going to give you general headlines of my presentation because if I read it all, it will take a long time. So I am going to talk around 20 minutes, as they told me, and the rest it can be more useful for questions and answers.
今日はいただいた時間限られておりますので、ごくかいつまんだ話となります。
In fact, I started to have some information about Sasakawa Peace Foundation directly after the war in Iraq. It was the year 2003 in May. During that time, in fact, they asked me to attend a round table speaking about what Japan means to the Arab and Islamic world and what is now demanded from us, means from Japan. To give this presentation in Tokyo and secondly in Kyoto. During that time, I, in fact, I was attended a forum in Kuwait, which is related also about media. It's Arab Media Forum in Kuwait. Same time, I received a book about the current situation of the Arab media between 2008-2012. So in that book, I will give you some the headlines of that book, and which means I will summary the current situation really about the Arab media, which is very important. It's maybe far from your interested, but I think it's more important nowadays because the situation in the area or in the Arab world is very difficult, and I think it's that's why me and my colleague Mr. Shokeir, who is working with Al-Jazeera, will do some focus on Al-Jazeera, and I will give you a general idea about what Al-Ahram is doing. This book, which is Arab Media Outlook 2008-2012, it covers 12 Arab countries: Bahrain, Kuwait, Egypt, Jordan, Kuwait, Lebanon, Morocco, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Tunisia, and the UAE and Yemen. As we noticed at this book, all 12 markets is that young people make up a relatively high percentage of the population. In some countries, over than 50% are less than 21 years. You know, if I say that, it's important because the media should take care of this majority of or this high percentage of the population for the Arab world, which is more than 50% less than 21 years old. It means a large use that is particularly received to new media. Also, we noted that the Arab media industry is going through a period of renewal and regeneration in terms of technology and content, though there are challenges along with opportunities. We note that the traditional media, such as newspapers and television, are performing in line with the strong growth of regions' economics and are achieving growth rates that are the envy of the rest of the global industry. Digital media is also growing, though there are variations across the region, depending largely on difference in the level of development of broadband access and infrastructures. This book, Outlook, it was covering generally the period between 2008 2012, but something new also in year 2010, which is published by one of the Egyptian newspaper, which his name is Masr al-Yom. It was prepared by Dubai Press Club, which is discussing the present situation of the Arab media. And I mean, the Outlook covers generally, but what about what happened year 2010, which is, I'm going to give you also the headlines of that. Economics of the Arab countries are in fact affected by the global economic crisis, which is reflected on the media industry in the Arab region. A good example to that is how the proceeds of this industry dropped by 15% in 2009. Industry in the Arab countries is expected to return to its previous status by the year 2011. Growth may be 8%. Outlook about the Arab media, or the current situation of the Arab media. What I'm going to give you some idea about the Egyptian media, and also I'll give you briefing about Al-Ahram, my newspaper. Al-Ahram Shimbun is one of the oldest newspaper in the world. It's founded year 1875. You know what the meaning of Al-Ahram, by the way? Al-Ahram means pyramids, which is, all of you know that the pyramid is one of the oldest things in the world. So Al-Ahram takes this name. We are in Al-Ahram proud to be also one of the oldest newspaper in the world. Al-Ahram began as a newspaper that was published weekly, and after less than 5 years, exactly in January 3rd, 1881, turned into a daily newspaper. We are now established at Alexandria. Moved from Alexandria to Cairo on November 3rd, 19th. On November 1, 1968, then the newspaper moved to its current building. I think Akira-san visited us at this building a few weeks ago. Also visit, if some of you visit Egypt, Cairo. So it's one of the big buildings in Egypt, in Cairo. And it was built, and we are there since 1968. And Al-Ahram had a number of famous figures running chief editors in it, including Khalil Mutran and Mohammed Hassanin Ekel, Fikri Abaza, Hassan Abdul Quddus, all these people, the chief editor of Al-Ahram one day. It was founded by the two brothers, Salim and Bishara Takla, who were Lebanese, by the way. Still, Al-Ahram boasts the Arab mind. Al-Ahram currently publishes 3 local editions and also publishes an international edition in London, Frankfurt, and in New York. The newspaper publishes an edition in Arabic in Dubai in Kuwait and Kuwait. It has electronic also edition on the internet. Some people, by the way, complaining that the internet is not available, Al-Ahram, but I think it's because there is a lot of people opening Al-Ahram homepage. Al-Ahram also has a huge establishment, company in Egypt. We have a lot of daily newspapers in Arabic, in English, in French, and a lot of magazines, weekly, monthly, quarterly. So there is a lot of issues from Al-Ahram every day. Then what is the current situation of the media in Egypt nowadays? I quote from the book of the State Information Service. It's a government book which is published 2009. They say, in the age of satellites, the Egyptian media has praised itself to occupy a pioneering and distinguished position that came as a result of a remarkable leap and presented freedom of expression. This is what the government say. 2008, the freedom of press recorded as also, I am quoting this book, a government book, because I have my own comments. In year 2008, and we are lucky, Ambassador is not here today, he was there in Tokyo. So there here I can speak loudly and I can answer all your questions. In year 2008, as they say, the freedom of press recorded a remarkable growth and ranked the fourth in this being among the states of the Middle East and North Africa. Numbers of newspapers and magazines released in 2009 totaled 521, including 180 newspapers and 341 magazines distributed as follows: 22 daily newspaper, 91 weekly newspapers, 67 monthly newspapers, 25 weekly magazines, 316 monthly magazines.
2009年に発行されている新聞、そして雑誌は
Television in Egypt, in fact, is very important, and maybe Al-Jazeera today will take a part of this session, but I wish to say that in Egypt also television is very important. Even it's a local TV or television. It's tried to attract the attention of our people, I mean in Egypt, and we have satellites also covering all the Arab world, and they are doing their best, in fact, in Egypt to prove or to attract the attention of Egyptian, because Al-Jazeera, by the way, and Al-Arabiya, many Arab TVs and BBC World Service. So they are trying, they are doing their best. That's why our chairman of Al-Ahram, Abdul Monem Saeed, says one day for Al-Ahram Masai that the TV stations in Egypt have become a part of the political game as a party on its own. I'm going to explain what the meaning of that. The TV in Egypt is playing a political role